All right. So, you guys see my digital notebook right now? Please let me know if you don't. Um, okay. If How about give me a thumbs up if you guys have downloaded your digital notebook? How about that? Just so we would know whether or not you guys have it, because I could be talking about it, but you know, you guys don't have it yet. How do I download it? Yep, the digital notebook. Okay, so to download the digital notebook, how about I share it again in the file? Okay, so if you don't have it yet, okay, you can download it now. But if you do have it already, don't save the copy I'm sending you right now because it still has my All About Me slide, and you should have your own All About Me slides by now. Okay, all right. Now, if you still don't have your digital notebook, it doesn't mean you're going to be lost for today because I want everything to be student friendly. So, all the parts of my digital notebook will also be sent to you individually. Okay, so don't panic. We're all in this together, and um, we guys will figure it out together. Okay, so I will be minimizing the chat for now and maximize this screen instead, um, so we can see our entire agenda. Um, okay, I wanna put it in percent mode so it will be bigger. All right. You don't have to worry about taking pictures of what you see on the screen because, like I've said, I'm going to show you later where you can find it. Ooh, this is not a good way to open the day. Um, okay, can we wait for 10 seconds, and if it doesn't, we'll use another way to present it. Okay, how about I go to your class instead, just to kind of save some bandwidth from the internet. Okay, so thank you for being patient with me. I'm opening the digital notebook so we can figure out what our agenda is for the day. Um, so it didn't open earlier, so this is my plan B. I am back to Schoology, and let me go to the slide where it has our agenda, probably slide 8. Okay, yep, slide 8 it is. Okay, so let me view it on full screen. So what is our agenda for today? First, we will be looking at two diagrams, the real number diagram and properties of real numbers. And just like what I said, don't worry so much about taking pictures because I will show you later where you can find them. And then we will start on our lesson. Yeah, hey. So yesterday I gave some, review materials. We didn't finish the 4 though. That's a bummer, but that's okay. We'll continue on it like next Monday meeting. All right. We will start on our textbook lesson. So please make sure that you have writing materials ready. And then after 40-45 minutes, you will be using the remaining time to do one Schoology work. And hopefully you can do your Delta Math before our next meeting. So even though the Delta Math is assigned on our Zoom meetings, by default, you can do it until, the morning before we do our next Zoom. So that's one thing that we or students like about block schedule. They, it block schedule buys them more time to kind of finish their work. Okay, so let's talk about this diagram right here. The real number system is very important to be familiar with because when you go to Algebra 2, that's 2 years from now, you will be finding answers that are not real. Okay, so what do we mean by it's not a real number? When you were a baby, you were taught how to count starting with one, two, three, right? And you call them natural numbers because, you know, they're used for counting. So counting or natural numbers mean the same thing. All right. This diagram is also, similar to the diagram on the right, except that these are the descriptions and here are the examples. Now the orange one is called the whole number set. So pretty much what makes whole different from natural. So this one just adds the zero to the set. Okay. Now when you added your signed numbers, you have your negative, -2, -3. So you now call them the sets of integers. So how does this diagram work? A natural number can also be called an integer, but not all integers are wholes. So if let's say 3, if you're asked what kind of number is 3, then you're going to say, oh yeah, it's natural. And it's also whole, right? And it's also integer because see, this one is kind of inside all those, ovals. So is there one unique way of classifying a number? Not all the time. Sometimes you get multiple answers. And we will model that later over here. So I have some examples for you. I'm going to share a Nearpod deck so you can type in your answers on the form. On the blue one is your rational numbers. Okay, so rational numbers, if you notice, the root word is ratio. A ratio is just a pairing, a matching. So when you match a number and turn it into a fraction, that's called a rational number. Oh, what happened to 1.3? For example, let's come up with a simple example. One third, like 1 divided by 3, if you do that in your calculator, it becomes 0.3333 and so on. So repeating decimals, okay, are also called rational. Let's say, for example, one fourth, okay, one fourth can be changed into 0.25, right? We're gonna use that later. So let's use a different one. Let's say one half. So one half is 0.5. So 0.5 can also be written as a rational number. Okay, and last but not the least, these are comprising a different subset over here. They're called irrational numbers. For example, um, if you type square root of 7 in your phone or in your calculator, um, it will be a bunch of decimals, excuse me, but the numbers do not repeat. So that's what I mean by non-repeating numbers, but they don't stop either. So they keep going. Okay, so those are irrational. But all the types of numbers we talked about, okay, they are of course real numbers. Okay, now you hear that blower in the background. I'm so sorry. Okay, so all of these are called real numbers. So I'm gonna stop the sharing because I'm gonna direct you to a Nearpod link. I'm really sorry about that noise. Um, okay, so I'm gonna go to my Nearpod and I'm gonna give you a link. Um, okay, I think I should consider closing the bedroom window if it doesn't stop in the next 10 seconds. Okay, I'm going to be sharing this Nearpod link. So, link, and then I go to chat and send this to you. Okay. All right. If the link does not work for you, don't worry so much. Don't panic. I can also read your responses in the chat. Okay. Give me 30 seconds. I'm going to close the window so we can minimize this noise. All right. I hope the link works for you. But remember, if it doesn't work, don't feel left behind. I'm going to monitor the chat if you guys are also writing your responses in there. So don't worry. Okay. So let's start our Nearpod. Let me see who's in it already. Yay! Amira, Edgar, Emily, Javier, Jaden, Giselle, and Silly. All right. I hope more could join us. But if you can't, if it doesn't work for some reason, you may also type your answers in the chat box. Thank you for being patient. Valerie is also in. Samantha, Caesar, Edgar. I'm sorry if I said your name, again. They just pop up like at random, so they're not in particular order. Brian, um, Ricanel, Shalia, Estefano. All right. Okay, we're gonna get started. Here we go. I'm sorry if I missed out on some of your names. You will see a number here on the left hand side. So the first number is pi. And what I want you to write is you're going to classify it. So remember, it doesn't necessarily mean it only has one answer. So you could classify a number like once or two times or three times, depending on what it is. Okay, so your choices are um, natural, or counting is the same thing, whole, integer, rational, irrational, and real. So you have six possible choices. So if you see the number pi, okay, pi, what is it? What kind of number is it? Go ahead, write your thoughts. All right. I see mostly, well, irrational. How about the others? What do you think? I think I haven't seen all the possible answers. Yay, now they're coming. Woohoo! Okay. But I don't think I've seen all the possible answers. We're missing one. Remember, all these types of numbers are also called what in general? Let me turn off my phone because Bixby is just trying to like catch everything I say. Power off. All right. Ooh. Eta, did I say your name right? Okay, so I think if you combine Eta's two answers, then that's the whole thing that we guys are looking for. Okay, it is irrational, so all of you are correct. All of you are correct. But at the same time, any type of number is also called a real number. So you should give two answers. That's cool. Let's move on. Here we go. Write down your thoughts. Ooh, 1/4. Ooh, very first one, Valerie. Rational. And don't forget, there's another bigger set that all these types of numbers belong to, right? So maybe you're forgetting something. You can give two answers at the same time or write another, you know, post it for the other app. Good. It's a fraction. Yes. But if it's a fraction, we don't call it such. We call it rational, but they mean the same thing, okay? Cool. All right. Good job, guys. Again, we're looking for one more possible answer, and there you go. We have it. So, 1/4 is rational and at the same time real. So, pretty much every number is called a real number unless you get it in Algebra 2. So, there will be non real numbers. So, there must be two possible answers. And I want to emphasize that because if we're looking at, let's say, if you have a quiz on Schoology and you have to like drag and drop your answer, or something like that from a word bank, if you miss one, then you're not going to get all the points. Does that make sense? So make sure that you place all possibilities. Okay, next. All right. -9. So what kind of number is -9? And in what ways can you classify it? Oh, okay. I'm so sorry, honey. So let me give you a quick overview. Do you see my screen on your screen or no? No? Okay. Um, okay, give me 1 second. Um, 1 sec. Let's fix that. Um, did you try to click on the link that I shared with you? But it did. Oh, so when you, let me, okay. So let me see what I can do over here. How about I share the Nearpod screen with you? Now, do you see something like a Nearpod next or on your screen right now? Now you see it? Okay. All right. Um, so then let's look at, would be nice to, thank you. So if you now see my Nearpod, do you see how like people are typing up on this box right here? Okay. It doesn't show. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. That's okay, honey. We also need that later on. But we switched gears and we went to this. Okay. But for now, I don't want you to get lost. So just to stay looking at your screen right now, and I'll explain what we're doing. And then hopefully next time you have an earpod, I can, slow down a little bit and make sure that you're on before we get started. Is that cool enough? Okay. Okay, cool. So what we were doing was we were trying to classify the number that we see on the left-hand side and tell whether it's an integer. And I can see that some of us are, getting the hang of it already. So all integers are also real numbers. So some of them are writing two answers. That's cool. And if the Nearpod is still not working on your device, you can also type your answer on the or in the chat box because I can also read that. Thank you for being patient with all of these. I don't want to be just talking and talking the whole 40 minutes, so I try to kind of insert activities that will make it interactive. We'll try to be more successful in, doing this Nearpod next time. But I appreciate all your patience. All right. So going back. So -9 is an integer because it's a signed number, right? It has a negative sign. And all integers are also reals. But I think we're missing one more answer. One more answer. Why? Because let me let me remind you that there is a denominator underneath 9, right? You can actually write -9 as a fraction, can't you? So 9, I hope you can see this. I'm writing on the screen. 9 is actually the same as 9 over what's the denominator of 9? It has actually a denominator of 1. So whether it's negative or positive, so if I put a negative here, this could also be written as -9 over 1. So I think we're missing another possible answer here. Oh, there you go. It is also, yep, okay, it is also a rational number. So pretty much any whole number or sign number, let's say, let me erase this so I can write again. Okay, so every time I switch, that you will hear that beeping sound. Okay, suppose I have like 22. So 22 is actually the same as 22 over 1, right? So not only is 22 a counting number, it is also an integer, right? But since you can write it as a fraction, then it is also called rational. And all of these are just types of real numbers. So that means there's four possibilities, correct? Okay. All right. So again, I apologize for those who are not able to join us on the Nearpod, but we'll try to make it work better next time. All right. So now let me close this Nearpod, or I'll save your answers later on. Okay. So now I am switching back to another screen. Okay, I know this is too much, but um, I didn't want you to type these up, so I copied and pasted them. Um, do not worry about screenshotting this one because I will show you later where you can find a copy. Yeah. So everything that I have on my notebook, there's a way that you can put it in your own notebook, and I'll show you later how to do it. So for now, we just maximize our lifetime by getting as much, learning as we can, and then we'll figure out the details later on. Okay, so these are the properties of the real number system. Okay, um, you don't have to memorize them. Okay, however, in your individual work later, you will be given equations like this. Okay, you will be given equations like this, and all you need to do is you're going to match those equations with the properties from the word bank. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, let's see, for example, let's look at this first example over here. Okay, so what happened to the 3? What did they do? So they multiplied 3 to each of the two numbers right there, right? So the verbal hints for that is multiplication distributes across addition. So in other words, you can multiply the number outside to each of the two numbers inside. Okay. Um, we're not going to read all of these like now. This will be your this will be part of your individual work. But what I would like you to focus on right now are the following: 13, 14, 15, and 16. Um, Wait, what page is that? Hi, Amira. You don't have this. You don't have this in your notebook yet, honey. Yeah, because I only made you download. Um, I made you download the original version, which doesn't have some of these slides. So don't worry if you don't see it. I hope that you see it on your screen, though. Um, do you see it on your screen? So I will show you later where you can find and copy it to your own notebook. Okay, so for now, I want all our eyes to just read 13, 14, 15, and 16. Because in our new lesson today, those are the four things that we need. So 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so what do they mean? By the name itself, it gives you a clue as to what property is being used already. So if you add the same value to both sides, then that's called addition property of equality. Conversely, if you subtract, like if you want to cancel something from an equation, um, yes, honey, thank you so much for being patient. Yeah, okay. So for subtraction, if you subtract or take away a number from both sides, then it's called subtraction property of equality. If you multiply both sides by an equation by a fixed number, that's called multiplication. And last but not the least, if you divide both sides of an equation by a certain number, that's called division property of equality. So for now, I want you to just focus your eyes on those four. Look at them one last time because we will be using them in our lesson, which will start in 11 seconds. So just try to memorize them. Okay? Addition property of equality, subtraction property of equality, multiplication property of equality, and division property of equality. Okay, I hope um, you've kind of memorized them already. So now I'm going to ask you to get ready with a writing material. Um, I'm going to share my whiteboard. My smart notebook. Okay. I hope you guys see this. All right, now we're going to start with the math, yeah? Be ready with a pen or a pencil. And remember what I told you, do not throw away any scratch paper, no matter how bad it looks. It could be the back of a magazine or a newspaper, etc. You have to take a picture of that. And you guys are going to show evidence of that in your digital notebook. And I'll show you later how you will do that. Okay, so when you guys were in middle school, you solved equations like this. Now, how about let's try it in your head first. What number, when you substitute for x and then subtract 3, will give you -5 as an answer? Right here. Yes, 8. Cool. Let's try those, sir. Let's try 8 minus 3. Ooh, but that's 5, sir, not -5. I'm sorry, I have to call you sir and miss because remember, I minimize your screens so you don't show in the screencast. That's okay, but I like that you tried. So how would we modify it? Remember, in this class, there's no right or wrong answer. The only thing that I would like you to do is just, is not try at all. -2. Okay, let's try. -2, take away 3. Woohoo! All right. Okay, so we get -5. So we can actually find the answer by doing it mentally, right? Okay, but here we go. In geometry, you guys will be asked to make two-column proofs, and that's what Algebra 1 is trying to prepare you for. So for each example, so I want you guys to write this down on your paper right now or notebook. We're gonna do a two-column proof or two-column work, and we call them statements and reasons. All right. I hope you understand my handwriting. I normally write nice on the whiteboard, but okay. So the very first one we're going to do is copy the problem. There. And when you do that, you write given as a reason. So it's like when you're writing an essay in English, there's a topic sentence, right? And then you try to kind of expand on it to get the conclusion. So the conclusion that we need to get to is -2. That's what we're trying to show here in our solution. But we have to expand it such that we're showing the properties used. And that's what makes it a little bit different from how we did it in middle school. Okay, so now what's the next step we're going to do? We may want to, like delete or cancel the -3. So how will you do that? You're actually going to add 3 to both sides, correct? So when you guys were in middle school, you did it vertically, just like how you see it on my screen right now. But now in high school, especially that you guys will be normally typing, a horizontal way. In the textbooks in high school, you won't see it that way. Instead, you will see it like this: x minus 3, and then instead of putting it underneath, you're going to put it right next to it. Okay? Equals -5. I run out of space, I'm sorry, so I'm going to go past that line. -5 plus 3. So you can kind of see that we added. Take note of the word I use. We added because that will give you a clue as to what property you're going to write. So can somebody tell me what property I used for number 2 when I added +3? Go ahead. What property? Something property of equality. Give it a try. What? But you can see the operation. What's the operation here? Very good. And that's what we're looking for. So we're going to write addition property of equality. There you go. So pretty much what the operation is doing kind of gives you a clue as to what property you guys will be using. Okay, so now I'm going to put number 3 over here. So if you have a -3 and a +3, they are actually called additive inverses of each other. I'm going to write it down. You will be seeing this when you guys go over the properties that I will share with you later on. Okay, so additive inverse, it's just a fancy name for opposites. There you go. So what we're trying to do is we're just realigning, what you learned from middle school with what you will see in high school textbooks. And, when you guys are being tested, well, we're not being tested so far, so I don't know how they're gonna do that. But anyway, so if you have a -3 and a +3, they are actually opposites. The fancy term for that is just inverse. So -3 and +3 will pretty much cancel each other out, right? So now we have x, that's no more because it's 0, right? Equals, and then we get our answer -2. There you go. So what pretty much are we doing? So the things that we learned in middle school, like the procedures that we learned, we're just giving them some more concepts, some more, justifications in Algebra 1. And it doesn't mean that all the equations you will see are this simple. They could be even more complicated. Okay, now your turn. I will be using whiteboard fee. So I'm going to slow down a little bit just so we could have more on that platform. I'm going to create a new, give me 1 second. Um, I'm creating like a new whiteboard class right now. Okay, so I'm gonna share my whiteboard key window. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit and make sure you guys have a chance to do this. Either you click on the link again that I will share with you. Hopefully it will work. Or you can go to whiteboard fee and type in the code U45TP. So whichever works for you. If it works, the faster way is just click on the link and it will automatically direct you to that. Okay. I'll give it some wait time just so we can accommodate everybody. Even my computer is slowing down so far because I have 4 people in the house Zooming. Can you believe that? Hey, Edgar! Okay. Oh, now there's a lot. Okay, here we go. All of you joined at the same time. Cool. All right. Um, you could put your name, honey, instead of the code so I could see your work. All right. So now that you're, or most of you are in it, let's copy the problem we're going to do. Um, 0.9 is equal to y plus 2.8. So let me do that. 0.9 is equal to y plus 2.8. Is it plus? Let me double check. Yes, 2.8. Okay, so that's the equation you guys are going to solve. I don't want you to make a 2-column proof right now because it won't fit in a little whiteboards. So what I would like you to do is you write the problem and try to get the y by itself. Y by itself. I know some of you could do it mentally, but since we're doing our lesson already, I would appreciate it if you could jot down some solutions. Oh, hang on, honey. Let me share it like right now, right now. How about now? So 0, awesome. Oh, did you say you can't see it? I'm sorry. All right, thank you, honey. So 0.9 is equal to y plus 2.8. I'll give you some wait time, maybe a minute. I'm gonna see. All right, can I switch? Um, Amira, is your answer 0 or You're going to join on another device. Cool. Nice. All right. So the problem is still there, but I'm just kind of scrolling down so I can see your whiteboards. Okay. Nice. Take your time. Just get a feel of how to use this whiteboard fee because, you know, it's our quickest way to see each other's solutions. Nice. Very nice. Later on, I can save your whiteboards as a PDF. So sometimes I don't get to see all of them because of the bandwidth of my internet. But if I save them as PDF, then I see everything. Cool. Nice. I can see Louise got an answer already. Okay. All right. So be careful when you guys are solving it. Yep. You guys did a good job of showing that you have to subtract something, not add. So that's the reverse of what I did earlier. Okay. Now, the question is, are you going to subtract 0.9 or 2.8? Um, both methods are right, but you want to get the y alone, right? So if you want to get the y alone, it's like imagine you're approaching from here, and in order to touch the y, you have to like get this out of the way. Okay? So that means you have to get rid of this number. Okay? So you have to take it away. So if it's plus, you're going to do its opposite, right? You're going to do its opposite. Okay, so I see some answers now. Some said negative 1.9. Okay, we'll see. All right, keep solving. So in your individual work later on in Delta Math, it's pretty much similar to what we're doing right now. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance to look at a very cool online calculator, if you could go to this website, I'm going to send it in the link as well. Just so, if you're using your phone for something and you wanna use a calculator on your device, I'm gonna send it to you right now. Um, there. So it's called Desmos.com. I'm sure you've seen that before. Okay. And that's pretty much what I normally use when I'm teaching online. Okay, so because I can't show you my calculator, right? So here in Desmos, you can actually type in the number and just use the operations as if you're doing it on your phone. Okay, so going back to the whiteboard. Okay. All right. So let's see. So going back here, you can subtract this from 2.8, but since we want to get the y by itself, then we would rather subtract the 2.8, right? Instead of subtracting the 0.9. There you go. Okay. So then you will get an answer for y. There. All right. So then you subtract you subtract negative 2.8 and 0.9. So would that be a positive number? Definitely not. So in your calculator, you could try that. Okay, so what will be the answer? You get negative 2.9 and then plus 0.9. Okay. Oh no, I typed in the wrong thing. 2.8. Why did I put 2.9? My bad. Okay. So negative 2.8 plus 0.9. So you can kind of see that Your calculator, if you're using it, um, is showing it here on the right hand side. The good thing about this is if this is not among the choices and it's in fraction form, if you click on that button, it will actually change your answer to fraction form. See how you can switch from decimal to fraction? Okay. All right. So that's just some helpful hacks if you need to make some computations. Use that calculator. You might want to bookmark that in your device. Do you guys know how to bookmark? Just click on this one. I'm pretty sure you know this. You guys are more tech savvy than I am. So you click on this star over here. Okay, so if you click on bookmark, then you could just say calculator. So the name would be smaller and it will automatically display in your Chrome tabs or bookmarks every time you log in. All right. Okay, so just like what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go back to all your whiteboards and save them as PDF later on. Okay, so for now, let's just look at the last example for today. And this time, we're not going to add. Instead, we're going to use the other operations. So let's see. Let's look at letter A. So I'm going to have my table over here. So statements, then reasons. Okay. So let me copy negative n over 5 is equal to negative 3. So the first one, again, we always write given. So even when you go to geometry, the very first thing is given. Now, we have to get the n by itself, but we have a problem. Negative n has a negative sign, and it also has a 5 tagging along at the bottom. So how do we do that? You know, this middle negative can also go to the negative 5 here, right? Depending on where you want to place it. So to combine two steps in one, I'm going to group the negative with the 5. Yeah? Okay. So what are we going to do? We need to get rid of that 5 at the bottom. So we're going to multiply by that same number. There you go. But whatever you do to the left, you have to be kind to the right and give it negative 5 as well. Oh, somebody in the chat, give me 1 second. Ooh, cool. Negative, honey. Please try again. You know, when you multiply two negatives, what's going to happen? So n is equal to positive 15, right? Now let's go back and give the reasons. So the operation we use on both sides is we multiplied, right? So that means when we multiplied both sides by negative 5, that's multiplication property of equality. Now, once you guys get to these, you can just, in geometry, I allow my geometry kids to just use the shortcuts. But in Algebra 1, since our goal is to learn them, please write up the whole thing. Okay, so this one is multiplication property of equality. And then since we just multiplied negative 3 and, and negative 5, then we're just going to write simplify. Okay, so now what I would like you to do, we have 9 minutes remaining, is try letter B. And if you have extra time, you can also try letter C. So both of them will use the same technique, different from letter A. So you could just pick one and to do the solution. And I will wait for your answers in the chat box. Okay. Oh, no more, honey, because I did not create a new file. I did not clear the whiteboards either. You can clear it if you want to. If you want to screenshot it, you can do it on the board. Yeah, that's up to you. I left the whiteboard room open, so use it however you want to do it. Okay, did anybody get an answer to letter B? So you have to divide letter B by something. Something that you want to get rid of so the X could be alone. No, not yet. Okay. And then in letter C, you need to get the Z by itself. So whatever comes with Z, you have to divide. So pretty much you're doing the reverse operation. In letter A, there was a fraction. It was at the bottom, so I multiplied. But if the number in the way is right next to it, that means it was multiplied. So you have to do the opposite and divide. Okay, still waiting for answers. What is x equal to and what is z equal to? And don't forget to keep your scratch papers so you can put them in the digital notebook. Anybody? Z equals 4. Cool. So just divide 5.2 by 1.3, right? Louis and Cesar? Cool. So I missed my equal sign, equals 4. What about x? So if you divide both sides by pi, and some students change it to 3.14, and I say, sure, no worries. Okay, that's fine. But if you divide by pi, yay, very good, Shalia. So if you divide that, it's 2, -2, honey. Shalia was right. She said -2. So I would say your answer was partially right because you forgot the negative sign in it. Okay? But it was great. So you got the numeric answer. Cool. So these are some of the concepts that you will be using when you do your homework. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can put everything in your digital notebook because I know that some of you are kind of worried about it. So let me close this one for now. Um, I'm gonna close the whiteboard now, and then I hope I can open the digital notebook already. It was kind of lagging earlier. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna show you two things. You didn't see this before you joined the Zoom today because I normally not publish everything. Oh, we're ending in 4 minutes, honey. I went over time again. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna publish this one. Okay. Okay. All right. So your individual work can be found inside week 2 folder. It's the very last one over here. And if you open it, you can actually see the diagrams that I shared with you today. So you don't have to, take pictures of them or screenshot them because I'm sending you that file as well. Okay. So if I click on preview, um, it's slow. I'm so sorry. Okay, so if you click on preview, this is the diagram for the real numbers, the Venn diagrams that I showed you. And these are the properties as well. So when you answer this IW or individual work, you try to match the properties with the questions. Okay? And then on your digital notebook, just so you can, it's still not loading for me. Okay, here we go. So to paste your evidences on the digital notebook, Let's say if you need another agenda page. Okay, so all you need to do is duplicate. If you already know how to do it, you are free to leave. If you have questions about the digital notebook, I'm kind of showing that over here in the next 2 minutes. So if you need an agenda page, you could just right click on the page that you want to duplicate. So, okay, so right click and then duplicate slide. Okay. And all the things that I discussed in the past are also in the digital notebook. So if you kind of miss them, you can also find them here. Okay, it's not just loading too fast right now. But so if you're gonna copy your diagrams, if you want to paste your notes for the lesson, so um, the lesson notes can be found here on page 10. So if you want to take a picture of your notes and paste them over here, you can, type the name or the lesson number, which is solving simple equations. And if you run out of space, you can actually duplicate that. There you go. So each one of you will have a total, a different total number of slides at the end when you turn this in, depending on how you know, copy and paste your images. If you wanna, um, if you wanna paste the diagram that you will see in Schoology, the one I showed you earlier, the links, you can paste it in the individual or independent work. Okay, so you can do that as well. Um, if you want to copy whatever is on a slide, you can draw a box around everything there and click copy. Or you can also like click on every single one and then you copy it if you want it. There you go. If you want to follow what I'm doing, that I'm putting like an icon for where I can find them, I gave you links to all of those in page 6. So if you know that you did something in Schoology, you can copy that one, okay, and then paste it on another page and stuff like that. So this is like your project, a year-long project, which will be graded every grading period. Okay, so I meant to keep you live for 40 minutes, but I know I went over time a little bit today, but I did hope that you learned something new today from our class. And please do your independent work. If you don't finish it today, that's okay because our next Zoom time is on Thursday. So just make sure that you finish everything before then. All right? Sure, honey. Nice. So if you find yes, if you find those notes helpful, you can also upload some evidence of that on your digital notebook. And you know what, honey? I don't know how to say this, but some of my what do you call this?